a long-term relationship. Except now I was one half of a renovating couple's discussion, and I was on the verge of losing it. The crux of the problem, at least as I saw it, was that I, the professional home renovator with years of construction experience, had certain ideas about what I wanted and what the house needed, while Landon, a math professor who had never even picked up a paintbrush, had very different and, in my view, stupid ideas. This morning's argument circled around whether to install period wallpaper borders in the living room. Landon didn't want to use the gorgeous William Morris designs I had suggested because of the appalling history of wallpaper manufacturing in 19th century England, whose use of poisonous dyes had blinded many of their workers. "They don't blind their workers anymore," I said through gritted teeth. "I'll think of it every time I look at that border," responded Landon. "I have a lot of experience in this sort of thing, you know," I said for the 1000th time. "I understand, and I respect that immeasurably," he said in that laudable but at times annoyingly formal way of his. "But I must insist that it is I, after all, who bought the house." "So you want to make this about money? Really?" "Of course not. You know I don't care about that. Besides, I thought you bought it for us." "I did, indeed, and it will be ours just as soon as you marry me. When will that be, did you say?" For someone as measured and perpetually pleasant as Landon, this was a highly snide conversation. But he had a point. I hadn't exactly settled on a marriage date. Being engaged suited me quite well, but actual marriage still scared the hell out of me. I had tried it once, and it hadn't ended well. "The wallpaper versus painted border discussion can wait a while," Matteo said in a casual but firm tone. Matteo's in-charge demeanor was at odds with his small stature. Apparently he had decided to take on the role of mediator. "The plasterwork isn't even finished yet." "But that's my point," I insisted. "We would need a different level of finish depending on whether we're planning on paper or paint. Also, the genuine Morris paper has a long lead time. I want to get it ordered as soon as possible." "I agree with Matteo. We should table this discussion for the moment," said Landon. "Have you decided whether you want to repair the walls with the original lath and plaster or with drywall?" asked Matteo. "Plaster," I said. "Drywall," Landon said at the same moment. Our gazes locked, and not in a romantic way. "Okay," said Matteo, who was not a stupid man. "How's about you two take some time and talk that one out? In the meantime, want to check out that attic closet situation?" "This sounds like your department," said Landon to me as he checked his watch. "And I must leave now, or risk arriving late to class." "Your class doesn't start for another hour," I pointed out. Landon was teaching a graduate theoretical physics seminar at UC Berkeley, which was a 25-minute drive from where we were in Oakland. I was an on-time kind of person myself, but Landon was irritatingly so, blaming it on the unpredictable traffic in the Bay Area. "Better to be safe than sorry," he would say cheerfully as we sat in the car in front of a friend's house for a quarter of an hour so as not to catch our dinner host stepping out of the shower. "Better safe than sorry," Landon said now, right on cue. He smiled and gave me a little squeeze. "This is looking great, Mel. Everything's on track, eh? We'll figure out the wallpaper thing. Not to fret." I managed to smile. "It's just a decoration," I reminded myself. "And good luck at your meeting later," Landon said, leaning down and kissing me goodbye. "The Crockett Theater, yes? Let me know how it goes." "The great old theater in San Francisco?" asked Matteo. "I stopped by there last time I was in the Mission. I always heard that place was haunted." An uncomfortable silence descended. My experience with ghosts tended to bring conversations to a standstill, rather like discussing a tendency toward flatulence in polite company. The meeting this afternoon was to discuss Turner Construction taking over the renovation of the old-style movie theater. The previous contractor had abruptly dropped out halfway through the project, citing an unforeseen scheduling conflict, but I suspected something else was afoot. I was familiar with the century-old Crockett Theater and its reputation for being haunted because not only do I run a construction company, but I'm also something of a ghostbuster, and apparently a glutton for punishment. "Be that as it may," said Landon as he gave me a quick hug and took a brief moment to gaze into my eyes. "See you tonight. Promise me you'll be careful?" I nodded and watched as Landon